5, 1 in 6 chance he could play... Oh, Magnus, what are you doing to me? You could have made me look so good there, dude. No, instead it's a Grunfeld defense.
I thought he was going to be a B3 cowboy. He instead goes for D4. He's playing mainline stuff. Of course, he respects Alireza Firouzja, who, as we've stated, has a match lead against Magnus throughout this year. 3 match wins in the CCT for Alireza, 2 match wins for Magnus. So Magnus, he wants to even this thing up. And, well, I think for now, in this opening, David, this is Bishop B5 check. It's an inclusion that in the old books, they'd be like, what are you doing? Why are you giving a tempo to black? But this has become more of a topical variation to stop black from instantly playing C5 and chiseling at white center.
That's right. White looks like he's losing a bit of time here, but ultimately black has to strike against the center. Black's Grunfeld defense is all about this dark square bishop, the Fianchetto bishop along the diagonal. It has a lot of influence, so often you want to challenge the center, but you were prevented temporarily. And Firouzja is making use of the fact that he's been able to kind of gain space on the queen side with tempo, pushing b5, attacking the bishop, a5, maybe hinting at a4, b4, and it's all to do with undermining white's strong center from afar. So yeah, this is something I've played myself a lot from the black side throughout my career. I'm always kind of just getting excited, but then realizing white's center is just super strong. So we'll wait to see developments here, but I do want to mention Magnus has played this from the white side before, so I do wonder whether Alireza Firouzja is well prepared. I remember some clashes against another Frenchman, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, in this exact line, which didn't always go Magnus's favor. But yeah, Magnus, a minute up on the clock already, still with a big pawn center. I think it's a small opening success for him.
I know you like this position from the black side because you've played it so many times yourself, but I will say I think it's a good strategic decision from Magnus because Alireza, he likes tactical fireworks. You are forcing Alireza to take some strategic risks in order to get that kind of dynamic game. We see black's queen side, those pawns b5 and a5. You might even play a4 in the future, but your pawns may be overextended. At the right moment, white can push one of his own pawns to quickly put some pressure in the black position, and that's something that you need to take a serious glance at. You do not just want to push your pawns to a4 and think later. You have to note, like, is that giving away all the dark squares? Will that bishop go to a3 if these pawns are all on light squares? And we have seen a4 and c5. We have liftoff, but David, all these pawn pushes, they do have consequences.
They really do, and Magnus is already poking at those consequences, asking black whether he's bothered about this pawn. I'm not sure whether it's hanging right now, whether you can take it, because black's bishop would come out and skewer the 2 white rooks to each other, but he is asking those questions, and black has neglected piece development in kind of favor of pushing all of these pawns, so very risky strategy, as you mentioned, strategically from Firouzja. 3 sleeping pieces here on the queen side. He needs to get those out sooner rather than later. And it does feel like Magnus might still be in book here, Robert. White's played very natural moves. Bishop b5 check may be the only... easy it is. I think you do have to be slightly careful about when you push your pawns, but Magnus is suffering here, and is so self-inflicted. It was that one blunder we saw him react to earlier.
I think it was just a strange decision. And Alireza, oh my goodness, Dave, you know what's about to happen? Is he's going to force the pawn to a3. This is brilliant awareness from Magnus Carlsen. He is going to force the black pawn forward. It can be defended by the bishop, but then the white king goes back to b1. This is incredible.
Wow, just the vision, the foresight, I mean, the bravery to go for this, Magnus. He did it instantly. I was going to say you shouldn't push the pawn forward yet, because the white king can still run towards it, but he goes the other way, Magnus Carlsen, and fortress. I mean, we all know what Magnus says about fortresses. He said once that he didn't believe in them, and he's been misquoted ever since, but this is the definition of a fortress. Once the black pawn is on a3, the white king will, as you mentioned, sit on b1, and there's no way to force it out of that cave, of that hiding place. It's going to be stalemating ideas there. The white king will simply kind of step between b1, a1, c2, c1, wherever you force it, and it will be a draw. I think we'll see it play out, Robert.
Incredible, and white is kind of threatening a3 himself to then bring his king and hit the black pawn, because it's on a light square, it can't be defended by the bishop. So black may have to play a3, and then the white king just goes back into its own corner. So this is actually wild, and I just can't believe that Magnus spotted that quickly. Like, you can sense that there are some drawing techniques, but he had this in the back of his mind. Like, he knew the drawing zone.
That is crazy, and that's why he's the best in the world, Magnus Carlsen. He has an extra gear compared to a lot of top players. He knows when to sit back, suffer. He knows how to draw even the most hopeless looking of positions. And here we go, everyone. We're going to learn a lesson. A bishop is not enough, even with the right coloured corner, because of this stalemate idea. Look at that, Magnus willingly putting his king in the corner, but you cannot trap it, you cannot cage it. And stalemate will end this game most likely any moment now. Look at Firouzja on the camera as well. Frustrated, Robert, and it is a draw.
What a save from Magnus Carlsen. I mean, he did this to himself, so it's almost like he set the stage for his great escape. I mean, he is a magician, and that unbelievable escape. Yes, there was a bit of a helping hand from Alireza Firouzja, but he didn't have time to calculate all of the nuances there. David, I mean, that was truly exceptional stuff.
Exceptional stuff. Magnus used